Hi, I'm Libby Gibson, Town Manager. Welcome to What's Going On in Town Government. So we had another shortish meeting last night, but we should not get too used to this, because what happens is we get short meetings and then we start thinking, oh, this is pretty good. We're having short meetings, and then there's a long meeting, and then we're into a long meeting cycle. In any event, I think it was over about, what, 7:30-ish?
Yep,
Somewhere
right around there, an hour and a half.
So the first thing we did was we had some announcements, and the police chief had a proclamation read for National Police Week, which is the week of May 14th through 20th. And we took the opportunity to do departmental personnel awards for the police department. And it was always a very nice annual thing that the chief has started. And the people who've done something extraordinary get plaques and a round of applause, and it's really nice. So we did that first, and then while the chief was up at the mic, we talked about speed limits. At the 2017 annual town meeting adopted a Mass General Law that allows municipalities to set speed limits down to 25 miles per hour in certain areas, thickly settled or business areas specifically. And there's a process if you want to change your speed limit to 25 or something higher. There's a process that you have to go through. So we were talking about the process and the areas where the speed limit lowering might happen, and there's a public hearing, so we talked about all that. And the public hearing is going to be scheduled.
Okay. So we get a little more succinct here on that. When you say thickly settled, does that mean anywhere in town?
Probably. Yeah.
So what's
that means
the speed
anywhere
limit
in town.
now?
The speed limit now, by law, in a thickly settled area, other than a school zone, is 30.
I see.
So, I
think you're going to hear it from a lot of people. They want to slow down. They want people to slow down.
Now, as we know, just because you post a speed limit of 25, that doesn't mean people go 25.
No, but it still encourages them to go a little slower.
It does, and you can ticket them for going higher. So the problem now is we're not in compliance really right now with the way you're supposed to do this, and I'm sure we're not the only town, but we tend to stick up a speed limit sign when, sometimes when people say, oh, there's traffic's too fast on my road, we need 20 miles an hour. That's not an enforceable speed limit by law. So 25 is, and you can set it yourself now. Previously, technically, you had to go to the Department of Transportation and do this engineering study. There's still some level of an engineering study required, but it's not as burdensome as it once was. So I think we're going to see more areas in the next little bit here of 25. The other thing had to do with signage. You don't necessarily have to have a sign every few feet saying what the miles per hour is. There's a signage standard of how you do the sign, so we don't have sign pollution everywhere.
Okay. When might people expect this?
This is going to happen. The public hearing will probably be before summer, sometime in June. I would say. So be on the lookout for that if you're interested in that kind of thing. We also had a presentation we had a request from the Affordable Housing Trust Fund for support of a concept to use trust funds for a innovative, creative new program, or at least one instance of it, where, excuse me, how can we explain this? So in a nutshell, there's a group of people who are intending to establish themselves as a nonprofit, if this all works out, where they would basically buy a house. Sorry, Gino. This cough is driving me nuts.
Okay.
They would basically buy a house under their auspices of their nonprofit, and 14-ish people would live in it, and they would live together. They'd each have a room, and they'd have common space, and they would all pitch in to buy the house, and then they'd each pay, some maybe varying levels of rent depending on their income, and it would potentially solve a housing crisis for that amount of people.
Why do they need the town's involvement?
Well, the idea is that the Affordable Housing Trust would give them a loan to help with the purchase of the property, and they would pay the loan back over time.
The bank won't give them the loan?
I don't know about that. apparently there's difficulties with down payments and stuff like that.
Would they get the land from the town?
No. They would buy, your house is for sale, they might buy your house. Nothing to do with town land.
But
Just
14
town
people
funds
in
would
my
be
house,
loaned.
it would have to be a pretty big house.
It would have to be a pretty big house, yes it would.
And would they build from scratch too? Is that possible?
Well, we didn't talk about that. The idea right at the moment anyway was to buy an existing house. So there were a few questions, a little bit like along the lines of what you're asking right now, and they're going to come back, the group that's asking and the representative from Affordable Housing Trust to talk about this a little bit more. But basically the selectmen were supportive of the concept and they want a little bit more detail about how it would actually work. This is not a totally new idea.
No.
This happens
it's a co-op.
in some other places. It's a co-op.
That's what it's called, right.
Yes. I should have said that right from the start. Yeah. I mean, I think that if you, on the surface, it sounds like a bunch of friends are getting together and they want the town to loan them some money. That's what it sounds like. But then when you get into a lot of the details of it, it's meant to be a creative way to address an aspect of our housing problem.
Yeah.
So maybe it's worth giving it a try. See what happens. If it doesn't work, it doesn't work. We don't do it again.
Yeah.
So anyway, more to follow on that. We had a couple of public hearings for Atlas Restaurant. They were seeking to alter their liquor license to add a deck. And they were seeking to alter their entertainment license to lift a restriction that put a limit on the number of events they can have per year. Both of those were approved. And one announcement I made that was in addition to the ones that were on the agenda is that we have a couple of, as hopefully everybody by now knows, we have a large sewer project coming up. It's about to be bid and construction is intended to start this fall. And there are some neighborhoods that it will specifically impact. And we are having neighborhood group meetings coming up. We have one on Monday, the 15th at 5 o'clock at the community room for the Meadowview Drive neighborhood. Another one on Tuesday, the 16th at 5 o'clock in the community room for the Tashima, Bayberry, Green Meadows areas. If you are in those areas and in other areas of the sewer project, you will be getting a letter very shortly, hopefully before Monday, that outlines these meetings and what you should be expecting upcoming. There's also been some little notices in the, not little, big display notices in the paper explaining the project. We've had 3 or 4 notices, and you can go to the town website and read all about it.
Is this coming up in the fall?
Yes.
All right.
It is, and it's going to affect those areas that I just mentioned, plus the Shimo area and a few other little areas. Okay, next week, it's generally the 3rd Wednesday of the month is a public hearing Wednesday. We sometimes go off of that schedule, but we have a couple of public hearings next week. We've got a new mobile food unit license for Bartlett Farm. And we have a new seasonal, what's called a general on-premise license, liquor license for wine and malt beverages for, I just noticed a typo in the agenda.
All right.
For the Sconset Golf Course. And this came before the board a while back, maybe a year or so.
What are they going to do different?
They just want to, well, they don't have alcoholic beverages right now. So they want
talking about Skinners.
Yes, they want to have beer and wine, just like have a beer after you play golf, that kind of thing. It's not a food thing. This general on-premise license does not require the service of food.
That was turned down a year ago.
It was turned down a year ago, but I think they're going to try again.
Okay.
Sometimes things change over time.
Hey, keep trying.
Yeah. And so those are most of the things that are on next week's agenda, and there's a lot going on. So I had a field trip this morning out to Matticat to look at the public beach out there, which is right now, things hopefully will change between now and the end of June when the beaches get guarded, lifeguards start. But where the public beach has been the last few years off Chicago Street to the left as you get out to the end of the road down there, It's a drop off right now. We will not be able to put our ramp up if it stays the way it is right now. So we were meeting with a private property owner of the Matticat Land Trust to see about the possibility of a different location that would become the lifeguarded area, which is already a beach that people use down the way more towards Long Pond. So we went out and talked about that. But on my way back in, everywhere there is so much construction. Upper Main Street is construction central.
It's unbelievable.
That, Gino, you must know, living in that area, that was amazing. And India Street also is so much construction on that street.
And soon you'll hear the hedge clippers nonstop. Those are coming back.
The hedge clippers, yeah. Nobody.
One thing we should talk about is the amount of trash, Libby. I don't. Do you have a thing about trash, right?
I have a major thing about trash.
A guy came up to me and said he's never seen so much trash in Wisconsin. It used to be, especially Wisconsin.
Really?
You would never see trash out there. He says he lives out there. He sees it everywhere. People are just throwing stuff out there.
I know. I have a lot of things I could say about this, but I'm just gonna say this: if people didn't let their trucks, right. I'm talking to you contractors and others, cover your truck.
Oh, it's not even that. It's more than that.
Well, it is more than that.
It's more like the workers are throwing. They don't have the same.
Well, contractors and workers and landscapers, you should be really careful about what your employees throw out the window. It's really gross. Speaking of really gross, or trash more appropriately, the clean team has started, and they are meeting this Saturday at the corner of Bartlett Farm Road and Hummock Pond Road, Saturday 8 o'clock. They clean for 1 hour. That's it. They go clean for 1 hour.
In a couple of days, right?
It's on Saturday.
But this runs for a week. Do you know where you're going to be the following week?
I don't, but I won't. Yeah, we should get the schedule up.
Let's start doing that with your show.
All right, I'll make a note.
Remind people.
I don't think we have a schedule for the next Saturday yet, but I'll make a note. Clean team. Anyway, so the clean team, you know, they're a drop in the bucket. I mean, Gino, even in my own neighborhood, Somerset Lane seems to be a place, one of many places where people just heave stuff out the window. And it's not pleasant stuff. I've probably mentioned this before, but there are an awful lot of plastic bottles, and they're not always filled with what they were originally filled with. Let me put it that way.
Oh, God.
So, yeah, it's really unpleasant. And I can't even... Anyway, we all need to pitch in on this. The DPW cannot do everything. The DPW does public property only, and even that is an uphill battle. So if people just cleaned up after themselves, and also...
This is the time to do it before everything gets thick with green.
Exactly, and also certain retail store people, I'm talking to you too, and I'm going to not mention your name yet, but in the Mid-Island area, there are a couple of very large and not so large retail stores where you buy things and take them out. You need to get responsible about sending employees up and down Sparks Ave and Pleasant Street to do a little cleaning up, because a lot of that stuff is coming from your establishments.
Right.
So if you want to be a good neighbor and a good community member, you'll send people out there to help do this cleanup. Also, construction people, you should be cleaning up your neighborhood.
Right.
Okay, enough of that. What else we got going on? Summer is coming.
Well, yeah.
It doesn't seem like it.
For me. It's some warm weather now.
I know, we really do. We keep getting teased. Like today's a little bit of a tease today. Oh, yeah. Gino, just looking out the window here.
I know.
I love these cherry trees in front of the town building. And on South Water, they're so beautiful. This time of year is so great.
Right.
So get out while you can, and hopefully, maybe it won't rain this weekend.
I think it's going to rain on Sunday.
On Mother's Day.
Yep.
Well, maybe that will encourage mothers, if they can, to do a lot of nothing.
Are you planning on doing a lot?
I'm hoping desperately to do a lot of nothing. I always hope that right around this time of the week, and I try not to plan anything, but you know how it goes.
Yep.
We'll see. But hopefully a lot of nothing is in my immediate future. Or a book. I could read a book.
There you go.
But that's a little bit of nothing.
That's nothing.
It's relaxing.
Yes.
Nothing can be very relaxing. Okay, thank you very much. See you next time.